back in North Carolina. Oh, it's good to see everyone. Thank you. Oh, it's good to see everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Please have a seat if you have a seat. Please have a seat. Mike D, so Mike D's Barbecue, let me tell you one of the biggest fans of Mike D's Barbecue. My husband dug him off. And thank you, Mike, for sharing your story. And I'm just so sorry for what your family has been through, but you have, out of an incredible tragedy, done so much for the community, and you are such a role model. So thank you, Mike, for everything you do. Thank you. And good afternoon to everyone here. Thank you to all of the incredible leaders with us today, including my friend, the Governor, Roy Cooper. Where is he? Here with his daughter. Every time I land in North Carolina, I'm just literally coming down the stairs of Air Force Two, I will shout to Roy Cooper, "What number is it, Roy?" And today he shouted 16, which is the number of times I've been in this beautiful state since I've been vice president. Every time. I want to thank your next governor, Attorney General Josh Stein. He's doing incredible work. He's going to be an extraordinary governor. Representatives Adam, Manning, Foushee, and Nickel, thank you all for your support, for your friendship, for your leadership. Chair Thomas of the Wake County Board of Commissioners, thank you for all that you do. And to all the leaders that are here today, including the students and instructors here at Wake Tech North. Thank you. Thank you. So thank you all. So listen, this election, I do strongly believe, is about two very different visions for our nation. One, ours, focused on the future, and the other, focused on the past. We see that contrast clearly in many ways, including when it comes to how we think about the economy. So our country has come a long way since President Biden and I took office. At that time, we sadly remember the millions of Americans that were out of work. We were facing one of the worst economic crises in modern history. And today, by virtually every measure, our economy is the strongest in the world. We have created 16 million new jobs. We have made historic investments in infrastructure, in chips manufacturing, in clean energy. And new numbers this week alone show that inflation is down under 3%. And as President of the United States, it will be my intention to build on the foundation of this progress. Still, we know that many Americans don't yet feel that progress in their daily lives. Costs are still too high. And on a deeper level, for too many people, no matter how much they work, it feels so hard to just be able to get ahead. As president, I will be laser focused on creating opportunities for the middle class that advance their economic security, stability, and dignity. Together, we will build what I call an opportunity economy. An opportunity economy. An economy where everyone can compete and have a real chance to succeed. Everyone, regardless of who they are or where they start, has an opportunity to build wealth for themselves and their children. And where we remove the barriers to opportunity so anyone who wants to start a business or advance their career can access the tools and the resources that are necessary to do so. I will focus on cutting needless bureaucracy and unnecessary regulatory red tape and encouraging innovative technologies while protecting consumers and creating a stable business environment with consistent and transparent rules of the road. As President, I will bring together labor with small businesses and major companies to invest in America, to create good jobs, achieve broad-based growth, and ensure that America continues to define the future and lead the world. And key to creating this opportunity economy is building up our middle class. It is essential. The middle class is one of America's greatest strengths. And to protect it, then, we must defend basic principles, such as your salary should be enough to provide you and your family with a good quality of life. Such as no child should have to grow up in poverty. Such as after years of hard work, you should be able to retire with dignity. And you should be able to join a union if you choose. Building up the middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency, because I strongly believe when the middle class is strong, America is strong. So in the weeks to come, I will address in greater detail my plans to build an opportunity economy. And today, I will focus on one element that's on the minds of many Americans as they pay their bills at the kitchen table or walk the aisles of a grocery store. And that is lowering the cost of living. So every day across our nation, families talk about their plans for the future, their ambitions, their aspirations for themselves, for their children. And they talk about how they're going to be able to actually achieve them financially. Because look, the bills add up. Food, rent, gas, back-to-school clothes, prescription medication. After all that, for many families, there's not much left at the end of the month. I grew up in a middle-class household. For most of my childhood, we were renters. My mother saved for well over a decade to buy a home. I was a teenager when that day finally came, and I can remember so well how excited she was. I kind of understood what it meant, but we called her Mommy. Mommy was so excited, it just made us excited that she was so excited. Later in college, I worked at McDonald's to earn spending money. Well, some of the people I worked with were raising families on that paycheck. They worked second or even third jobs to pay rent and buy food. That only gets harder when the cost of living goes up. When I am elected president, I will make it a top priority to bring down costs and increase economic security for all Americans. As president, I will take on the high costs that matter most to most Americans, like the cost of food. We all know that prices went up during the pandemic when the supply chains shut down and failed. But our supply chains have now improved, and prices are still too high. A loaf of bread costs 50% more today than it did before the pandemic. Ground beef is up almost 50%. Many of the big food companies are seeing their highest profits in 2 decades. And while many grocery chains pass along these savings, others still aren't. Look, I know most businesses are creating jobs, contributing to our economy, and playing by the rules. But some are not. And that's just not right. And we need to take action when that is the case. As Attorney General in California, I went after companies that illegally increased prices, including wholesalers that inflated the price of prescription medication, and companies that conspired with competitors to keep prices of electronics high. I won more than $1 billion for consumers. So believe me, as president, I will go after the bad actors. And I will work to pass the first ever federal ban on price gauging on food. My plan will include new penalties for opportunistic companies that exploit crises and break the rules, and we will support smaller food businesses that are trying to play by the rules and get ahead. We will help the food industry become more competitive, because I believe competition is the lifeblood of our economy. More competition means lower prices for you and your families. Now compare what Donald Trump plans to do. He wants to impose what is, in effect, a national sales tax on everyday products and basic necessities that we import from other countries. That will devastate Americans. It will mean higher prices on just about every one of your daily needs. A Trump tax on gas, a Trump tax on food, a Trump tax on clothing, a Trump tax on over-the-counter medication. And you know, economists have done the math. Donald Trump's plan would cost a typical family $3,900 a year. At this moment, when everyday prices are too high, he will make them even higher. As president, I'll take on the issue of the cost of health care. As Attorney General, I took on insurance companies and Big Pharma and got them to lower their prices. And together with President Biden, we've gone even further. We capped the price of insulin at $35 a month, and the total cost of prescription drugs at $2,000 a year for seniors. We let Medicare negotiate lower drug prices for seniors. And just yesterday, we announced that we are lowering the price by up to 80% for 10 more life-saving drugs. And I pledge to continue this progress. I'll lower the cost of insulin and prescription drugs for everyone with your support, not only our seniors. And demand transparency from the middlemen who operate between Big Pharma and the insurance companies who use opaque practices to raise your drug prices and profit off your need for medicine. 2 months ago, I announced that medical debt will no longer be used against your credit score. And I will work as president with states like here in North Carolina, Roy Cooper, thank you again, to cancel medical debt for more and more, millions more Americans. As for Donald Trump, well, he wants to repeal the Affordable Care Act, which 45 million Americans rely on. 45 million Americans rely on it for health care. That would take us back to a time when insurance companies could deny people with pre-existing conditions. We all remember what that was. And we're not going back. We're not going back. We're not going back. And remember, and this is why we're not going back, because we do remember, he tried to cut Medicare every year he was president, threatening a program that tens of millions of seniors count on. And according to his Project 2025 agenda, he intends to undo our work to bring down prescription drugs, the cost of prescription drugs, and insulin costs. Well, we've come too far to let that happen. So we're not going back on that, and let's talk about the cost of housing. So now, the housing market can be complicated, but look, I'm not new to this issue. As State Attorney General, I drafted and helped pass a homeowner Bill of Rights, one of the first in America. And during the foreclosure crisis, I took on the big banks for predatory lending with many of my colleagues, including Roy Cooper, and won $20 billion for California families when I was Attorney General. So I know how to fight for people who are being exploited in the housing market. And I know what home ownership means. It's more than a financial transaction. It's so much more than that. It's more than a house. Home ownership and what that means, it's a symbol of the pride that comes with hard work. It's financial security. It represents what you will be able to do for your children. And sadly, right now, it is out of reach for far too many American families. There's a serious housing shortage. In many places, it's too difficult to build, and it's driving prices up. As president, I will work in partnership with industry to build the housing we need, both to rent and to buy. We will take down barriers and cut red tape, including at the state and local levels. And by the end of my first term, we will end America's housing shortage by building 3 million new homes and rentals that are affordable for the middle class. And we will do that together. We will do that together. And we will make sure those homes actually go to working and middle-class Americans, not just investors. Because, you know, some corporate landlords, some of them, buy dozens, if not hundreds, of houses and apartments. Then they turn them around and rent them out at extremely high prices. And it can make it impossible then for regular people to be able to buy or even rent a home. Some corporate landlords collude with each other to set artificially high rental prices, often using algorithms in price-fixing software to do it. It's anti-competitive and it drives up costs. I will fight for a law that cracks down on these practices. We also know that as the price of housing has gone up, the size of down payments have gone up as well. Even if aspiring homeowners save for years, it often still is not enough. So in addition, while we work on the housing shortage, my administration will provide first-time home buyers with $25,000 to help with the down payment on a new home. We can do this. We can do this. All to help more Americans experience the pride of home ownership and the financial security that it represents and brings. So that's my plan. But here's what Donald Trump would do. If his Project 2025 agenda is put into effect, it will add around $1,200 a year to the typical American mortgage. He's got it backward. We should be doing everything we can to make it more affordable to buy a home, not less. Finally, there's one more way I will help families deal with rising costs, and that's by letting you keep more of your hard-earned money. Under my plan, more than 100 million Americans will get a tax cut, and we will do this by restoring 2 tax cuts designed to help middle-class and working Americans: the Earned Income Tax Credit and the Child Tax Credit. Through which millions of Americans with children got to keep more of their hard-earned income. We know this works and has a direct impact on so many issues, including child poverty. We know it works. So as president, I'll not only restore that tax cut, but expand it. We will provide $6,000 in tax relief to families during the first year of a child's life. Now think what that means. Think what that means. That is a vital, vital year of critical development of a child. And the cost can really add up, especially for young parents who need to buy diapers and clothes and a car seat and so much else. And we will do this while reducing the deficit. Compare my plan with what Donald Trump intends to do. He plans to give billionaires massive tax cuts year after year. And he plans to cut corporate taxes by over $1 trillion, even as they pull in record profits. And that's on top of the $2 trillion tax cut he already signed into law when he was president, which, by the way, overwhelmingly went to the wealthiest Americans and corporations and exploded the national deficit. You know, I think that if you want to know who someone cares about, look who they fight for. Look who they fight for. Donald Donald Trump fights for billionaires and large corporations, I will fight to give money back to working and middle-class Americans. So I'll end with this. 2 days ago, Donald Trump was here in North Carolina. He said he was going to talk about the economy. I think you all watched. You know what I'm about to say. But he offered no serious plans to reduce costs for middle-class families. No plan to expand access to housing or health care. And that, actually, I think for most of us, was not surprising. Because we already know his plans. We know the Project 2025 agenda. So there's a choice in this election. Donald Trump's plans to devastate the middle class, punish working people, and make the cost of living go up for millions of Americans. And on the other hand, when I'm elected president, what we will do to bring down costs, increase the security and stability financially of your family, and expand opportunity for working and middle-class Americans. So now is the time to chart a new way forward. Now is the time to chart a new way forward, to build to build an America where everyone's work is rewarded and talents are valued, where we work with labor and business to strengthen the American economy, and where everyone has the opportunity not just to get by, but to get ahead. So I thank you, North Carolina. We're going to get this done. And with your help, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. God bless you. everybody. Oh, it's good to be back in Georgia. Thank you, everyone. Can we please hear it for Tyler? I want to thank Tyler for that incredible introduction. I invited him and several other young entrepreneurs to come and visit with me at the White House, and we had a really very long and important conversation about the future of America. And Tyler, you represent the best of our future. Thank you for that. Thank you. And please give it up for Quavo and Megan. So it is so good to see everyone. And let me also thank our incredible members of Congress who are with us this evening. Senator John Ossoff, Senator Raphael Warnock, and Representative Nikema Williams. To Mayor Andre Dickens, thank you for welcoming me back to Atlanta. And thank you to the great Stacey Abrams for your extraordinary leadership. So, Georgia, it is so good to be back, and I am very clear. The path to the White House runs right through this state. And you all helped us win in 2020, and we're going to do it again in 2024. Yes, we will. Yes, we will. So let's get right down. So I'm gonna get into some business now. Okay, I'm gonna get into some business now. All right. So Georgia, as many of you know, before, and have a seat if you have a chair. As many of you know, before I was elected vice president and before I was elected a United States senator, I was an elected attorney general and an elected district attorney. And before that, I was a courtroom prosecutor. So in those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. Him my entire career. For example, as Attorney General of California, I took on one of our country's largest for-profit colleges that was scamming students. Well, Donald Trump ran a for-profit college that scammed students. As a prosecutor, I specialized in child sexual abuse cases and sexual abuse cases. Well, Trump was found liable for committing sexual abuse. And as an attorney general, I held the big Wall Street banks accountable for fraud. Donald Trump, guilty of fraud. I will proudly put my record against his any day of the week. Any day of the week. Including, for example, on the issue of immigration. So I was the Attorney General of a border state. In that job, I walked underground tunnels between the United States and Mexico on that border with law enforcement officers. I went after transnational gangs, drug cartels, and human traffickers that came into our country illegally. I prosecuted them in case after case, and I won. Donald Trump, on the other hand, has been talking a big game about securing our border, but he does not walk the walk. Or as my friend Quavo would say, he does not walk it like he talks it. Worked on the most significant border security bill in decades. Some of the most conservative Republicans in Washington, D.C. supported the bill. Even the Border Patrol endorsed it. It was all set to pass. But at the last minute, Trump directed his allies in the Senate to vote it down. Right. He tanked the bipartisan deal because he thought it would help him win an election. Which goes to show Donald Trump does not care about border security. He only cares about himself. And when I am president, I will work to actually solve the problem. So here is my pledge to you. As president, I will bring back the border security bill that Donald Trump killed, and I will sign it into law and show Donald Trump what real leadership looks like. But make no mistake, this campaign is not just about us versus Donald Trump. Truly, this campaign is about two very different visions for our nation. One focused on the future, the other focused on the past. We believe in a future where every person has the opportunity to build a business, to own a home, to build intergenerational wealth, a future with affordable health care, affordable child care, paid leave. And all of this is to say, building up the middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency. Because we here all know when our middle class is strong, America is strong. And to keep our middle class strong, families need relief from the high cost of living so that they have a chance not just to get by, but to get ahead. Yes, it is true that by many indicators, our economy is the strongest in the world. But while inflation is down and wages are up, prices are still too high. You know it and I know it. And when we win this election, here's what we're going to do about it. On day one, I will take on price gouging and bring down costs. We will ban more of those hidden fees and surprise late charges that banks and other companies use to pad their profits. We will take on corporate landlords and cap unfair rent increases. And we will take on Big Pharma to cap prescription drug costs for all Americans. Our plan will lower costs and save many middle-class families thousands of dollars a year. But Donald Trump has a different plan in mind, one that would raise prices on middle-class families. Just look at his Project 2025 agenda. I take it you've seen it. Project 2025 is a plan to weaken the middle class. Be clear. And Donald Trump intends to cut Social Security and Medicare. He intends to give tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations. He intends to gut our investments in clean energy jobs. He intends to end the Affordable Care Act, to take us back to a time when insurance companies had the power to deny people with pre-existing conditions. You guys remember what that was? Children with asthma, breast cancer survivors, grandparents with diabetes. Georgia, America has tried these failed policies before, and we are not going back. We're not going back. We're not going back. That's right. And we are not going back because ours is a fight for the future. And it is a fight for freedom. Across our nation, we are witnessing a full-on assault on hard-fought, hard-won freedoms and rights. The freedom to vote, the freedom to be safe from gun violence, the freedom to live without fear of bigotry and hate, the freedom to love who you love openly and with pride, the freedom to learn and acknowledge our true and full history. And the freedom of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. Ours is a fight for the future and for freedom. And I don't have to tell folks in Atlanta that generations of Americans before us led the fight for freedom. And now, the baton is in our hands. Each and every one of us. And we love our country. We love our country. And I believe it is the highest form of patriotism to fight for the ideals of our country. And so, we who believe in the sacred freedom to vote will finally pass the Freedom to Vote Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. We who believe in the freedom to live safe from gun violence will finally pass universal background checks, red flag laws, and an assault weapons ban. We who believe in reproductive freedom will stop Donald Trump's extreme abortion bans, and when Congress passes a law to restore reproductive freedoms, as President of the United States, I will sign it into law. So November 5th is in 98 days. In 98 days, and let's level set. Friends, let's level set. We have a fight in front of us. We have a fight in front of us, and we are the underdogs in this race. We are. But you see, this is a people-powered campaign. Ours is a people-powered campaign. In fact, after I announced my candidacy, we saw the best week of grassroots fundraising in presidential campaign history. And if you go to KamalaHarris.com, you can help us build on that success. So the momentum in this race is shifting. And there are signs that Donald Trump is feeling it. You may have noticed. So last week, you may have seen, he pulled out of the debate in September he had previously agreed to. So here's the thing. Here's the funny thing about that. So he won't debate, but he and his running mate sure seem to have a lot to say about me. And by the way, don't you find some of their stuff to just be plain weird? Well, Donald, you'll reconsider to meet me on the debate stage. Because as the saying goes, if you've got something to say, say it to my face. In the next 98 days, we have our work cut out for us. And this is not going to be easy. This is hard work, but we like hard work. Hard work is good work. So, Georgia, today I ask you, are you ready to get to work? Do we believe in freedom? Do we believe in opportunity? Do we believe in the promise of America? And are we ready to fight for it?
And you know what else I love? I love being your governor. Thank you very much. Y'all fill my heart. And I love you so much. And I want you to know, every single day, I go to work for you. I put my shoulder to the wheel, and I focus on 3 simple letters in our alphabet. G, S, D. I focus on getting shit done for all of you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I want you to know, I am going to continue to pour my heart and soul into serving you every single day as your governor. And I'm going to be working my tail off to make sure we make Kamala Harris and Tim Walz the next leaders of the United States of America. That's right. Let me tell you about my friend Kamala Harris, someone I've been friends with for 2 decades. She is courtroom tough. She has a big heart. And she is battle tested and ready to go. Whether in a courtroom, whether fighting as Attorney General, whether remembering the people who have oftentimes been left behind when she was sitting in the halls of power in the Senate, Kamala Harris has always understood that you got to be every day for the people, for the people. And she has served with honesty. She has served with dignity. And every step of the way, she's broken barriers to serve all of us. Now, Billy, hear me on this. That's a hell of a stark contrast from the guy running on the other side. Y'all know who I'm talking about, I guess. You see, we remember here in Philly what it was like when Donald Trump was our president. We remember when he was president, it was more chaos, fewer jobs, and less freedom. You see, Philly, I know y'all, we walk around with a little bit of a chip on our shoulder because we remember, right? And we remember that it was Donald Trump that ripped away the freedom of millions of American women to make decisions over their own bodies. We remember that. We remember that. We're not going back. We are not going back. You're right. Not going back. And here's the thing. We don't want to go back, but let's go back for a second. Just remember. Let's just remember, because I think there's some folks out there that still have a little bit of brain fog, having a hard time remembering what it was like. Now listen, he brought all that chaos and limited our freedoms back when he was president, and let's be honest, didn't know what the hell he was doing. He didn't. But this is serious, gang. He knows what he's doing now. He does. And the Supreme Court that he packed, the Supreme Court that he has packed has ruled that he is above the law. He is outside of the law. And now he's got a clear plan. They all wrote it down in that whole Project 2025 thing. And they got a clear plan to take away more of our freedoms. They got a clear plan to use the Justice Department to go against our enemies. They got a clear plan to isolate us in the world. And let me tell you something, I ain't going back. I am not going back. I'm not. And neither do you want to go back. We are not going back. We're not going back. No. We're not. And not only are we not going back, we're not going into the future with Donald Trump, not going in the future with him. A guy who has made clear, he's told us what he wants to do, more chaos, less freedom. And yo, friends, it was Maya Angelou who said it. When they tell you who they are, yeah, I believe them, and I don't want to see that. And Donald Trump, well, he's now got a partner with him. Y'all see that guy? Yeah. J.D. Vance, he's not exactly off to a good start. I think we can all agree on it. But I think part of the reason why he's not off to a good start is this, and it's serious. He doesn't know who he is. And he's not being honest with himself, so he can't be honest with the American people. He can't. Now, so if I hear you right, and I think I do, you're chanting, he's a weirdo. Which means, man, I love you, Philly. Which means, if you're chanting, he's a weirdo, then you heard of my good friend and our next vice president, Tim Walz. Because Tim Walz, in his beautiful Midwestern plain-spoken way, he summed up J.D. Vance the best. He's a weirdo. And I want to talk about Tim Walz, because Philly, in a minute, he's going to come out here, and I want you to give him a whole lot of love. Tim Walz is a great man. Tim Walz is an outstanding governor. Tim Walz is a teacher. Tim Walz is a guardsman. Tim Walz is a great patriot. He is. And I'll tell you what else. Tim Walz is a dear friend. And I want you to know, Lori and I feel blessed to have Tim and Gwen in our lives. They are outstanding public servants. And I can't wait for you, Philly, the rest of this Commonwealth, and our entire country to get the chance to know the Walzes, the next vice president and second lady of this nation. Now, I think it is fitting, and it is special, that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz have chosen to launch their campaign right here in Philadelphia, in the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection. And importantly, they chose to launch their campaign right here in the birthplace of real freedom. You know, the other side, Trump and his sycophants, let me tell you something. They love to talk a good game about freedom, right? They love to cloak themselves in the blanket of freedom all the time. They love to talk a good game. But hear me on this. It's not freedom to tell our children what books they're allowed to read. That's not freedom. It's not. It's not. It's not freedom to say you can go to work, but you can't join a union. That's not freedom. It's not freedom to tell women what they're allowed to do with their bodies. That's not freedom. It's not. It's not. It is not. No, it's not. It is not. And it won't be that way when Kamala Harris is our president. And it sure as hell isn't freedom to say you can go vote, but he's going to pick the winner. That is not freedom. That's not what patriots have fought for over the years. It is not. You know what we are for? You know what Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are for? They are for real freedom. They are. The kind of real freedom that comes when we look that young girl in North Philly in the eye and we invest in her public school because we believe in her. We believe in real freedom, the kind of freedom that comes when we invest in our police and we invest in our communities because we believe that young girl should walk to and from school safely and back to her mama at the end of the night. We believe in real freedom where the young girl can grow up and be whatever she wants. She can be a welder. She can go to college. She can be who she is. That is real freedom, and that is what we are fighting for. We believe in the kind of real freedom where she grows up in a community where she can breathe clean air and drink clean water and know that she will leave an environment to the next generation that is great for her kids and her grandkids. And Kamala Harris and Tim Walz believe in a real freedom where you can marry who you love and be who you are. Now, freedom is on the ballot. And our fundamental freedoms are at risk. And I know when it's at risk, it's easy to feel uneasy. And it's easy to get down. But let me tell you something, Philly. Let me tell you something, Pennsylvania. Let me tell you something, America. I am more optimistic than ever before. And the reason I'm more optimistic than ever before is because of all of you. And because of what a band of patriots started here in our taverns, in our town squares, and at Independence Hall just a couple miles from here, half centuries ago. You see, they came together. They came together to declare our independence from a king, and we're not going back to a king. And we're not going back. And when they declared that independence from a king, they came together and they said, we are going to form a union. And over the last 248 years, the reason why I'm optimistic, the reason why I'm hopeful, is because as we've written this American story over the last 2.5 centuries, it's been ordinary Americans taking up the baton from those patriots and saying, we're going to do extraordinary things. Octavius Catto understood that responsibility. Cecil B. Moore understood that responsibility. Gen Z, when they're organized and on TikTok, understand that responsibility. And I'm optimistic today because the task of perfecting our union, the task of defending our fundamental freedoms, it now falls to all of you. To freedom-loving Americans all across this great country. And to the good people of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania who will decide this next election and understand our unique responsibility. I love you too, and this is a moment where we all have to understand that while we'll see Kamala Harris and Tim Walz's names on the ballot, that this election isn't just about their names on this ballot. This election is about all of you. And whether or not you're willing to do this hard work to fight for our freedom, whether or not you're willing to do this hard work that started here 248 years ago. I want to just say this. I lean on my family and I lean on my faith, which calls me to serve. And I am proud of my faith. Now hear me. I'm not here to preach at y'all, but I want to tell you what my faith teaches me. My faith teaches me that no one is required to complete the task, but neither are we free to refrain from it. That means that each of us has a responsibility to get off the sidelines, to get in the game, and to do our part. Are you ready to do your part? Are you ready to form a more perfect union? Are you ready to build an America where no matter what you look like, where you come from, who you love or who you pray to, that this will be a place for you? And are you ready to look the next President of the United States in the eye and say, hello, Madam President? I am too, so let's get to work.
everybody. Oh, it's good to be back in Georgia. Thank you, everyone. Can we please hear it for Tyler? I want to thank Tyler for that incredible introduction. I invited him and several other young entrepreneurs to come and visit with me at the White House, and we had a really very long and important conversation about the future of America. And Tyler, you represent the best of our future. Thank you for that. Thank you. And please give it up for Quavo and Megan. So it is so good to see everyone. And let me also thank our incredible members of Congress who are with us this evening. Senator John Ossoff, Senator Raphael Warnock, and Representative Nikema Williams. To Mayor Andre Dickens, thank you for welcoming me back to Atlanta. And thank you to the great Stacey Abrams for your extraordinary leadership. So, Georgia, it is so good to be back, and I am very clear. The path to the White House runs right through this state. And you all helped us win in 2020, and we're going to do it again in 2024. Yes, we will. Yes, we will. So let's get right down. So I'm gonna get into some business now. Okay, I'm gonna get into some business now. All right. So Georgia, as many of you know, before, and have a seat if you have a chair. As many of you know, before I was elected vice president and before I was elected a United States senator, I was an elected attorney general and an elected district attorney. And before that, I was a courtroom prosecutor. So in those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. Him my entire career. For example, as Attorney General of California, I took on one of our country's largest for-profit colleges that was scamming students. Well, Donald Trump ran a for-profit college that scammed students. As a prosecutor, I specialized in child sexual abuse cases and sexual abuse cases. Well, Trump was found liable for committing sexual abuse. And as an attorney general, I held the big Wall Street banks accountable for fraud. Donald Trump, guilty of fraud. Put my record against his any day of the week. Any day of the week. Including, for example, on the issue of immigration. So I was the Attorney General of a border state. In that job, I walked underground tunnels between the United States and Mexico on that border with law enforcement officers. I went after transnational gangs, drug cartels, and human traffickers that came into our country illegally. I prosecuted them in case after case, and I won. Donald Trump, on the other hand, has been talking a big game about securing our border, but he does not walk the walk. Or as my friend Quavo would say, he does not walk it like he talks it. Worked on the most significant border security bill in decades. Some of the most conservative Republicans in Washington, D.C. supported the bill. Even the Border Patrol endorsed it. It was all set to pass. But at the last minute, Trump directed his allies in the Senate to vote it down. Right. He tanked the bipartisan deal because he thought it would help him win an election. Which goes to show Donald Trump does not care about border security. He only cares about himself. And when I am president, I will work to actually solve the problem. So here is my pledge to you. As president, I will bring back the border security bill that Donald Trump killed, and I will sign it into law and show Donald Trump what real leadership looks like. But make no mistake, this campaign is not just about us versus Donald Trump. Truly, this campaign is about two very different visions for our nation. One focused on the future, the other focused on the past. We believe in a future where every person has the opportunity to build a business, to own a home, to build intergenerational wealth, a future with affordable health care, affordable child care, paid leave. And all of this is to say, building up the middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency. Because we here all know when our middle class is strong, America is strong. And to keep our middle class strong, families need relief from the high cost of living so that they have a chance not just to get by, but to get ahead. Yes, it is true that by many indicators, our economy is the strongest in the world. But while inflation is down and wages are up, prices are still too high. You know it and I know it. And when we win this election, here's what we're going to do about it. On day one, I will take on price gouging and bring down costs. We will ban more of those hidden fees and surprise late charges that banks and other companies use to pad their profits. We will take on corporate landlords and cap unfair rent increases. And we will take on Big Pharma to cap prescription drug costs for all Americans. Our plan will lower costs and save many middle-class families thousands of dollars a year. But Donald Trump has a different plan in mind, one that would raise prices on middle-class families. Just look at his Project 2025 agenda. I take it you've seen it. Project 2025 is a plan to weaken the middle class. Be clear. And Donald Trump intends to cut Social Security and Medicare. He intends to give tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations. He intends to gut our investments in clean energy jobs. He intends to end the Affordable Care Act, to take us back to a time when insurance companies had the power to deny people with pre-existing conditions. You guys remember what that was? Children with asthma, breast cancer survivors, grandparents with diabetes. Georgia, America has tried these failed policies before, and we are not going back. We're not going back. We're not going back. That's right. And we are not going back because ours is a fight for the future. And it is a fight for freedom. Across our nation, we are witnessing a full-on assault on hard-fought, hard-won freedoms and rights. The freedom to vote, the freedom to be safe from gun violence, the freedom to live without fear of bigotry and hate, the freedom to love who you love openly and with pride, the freedom to learn and acknowledge our true and full history. And the freedom of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. Ours is a fight for the future and for freedom. And I don't have to tell folks in Atlanta that generations of Americans before us led the fight for freedom. And now, the baton is in our hands. Each and every one of us. And we love our country. We love our country. And I believe it is the highest form of patriotism to fight for the ideals of our country. And so, we who believe in the sacred freedom to vote will finally pass the Freedom to Vote Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. We who believe in the freedom to live safe from gun violence will finally pass universal background checks, red flag laws, and an assault weapons ban. We who believe in reproductive freedom will stop Donald Trump's extreme abortion bans, and when Congress passes a law to restore reproductive freedoms, as President of the United States, I will sign it into law. So November 5th is in 98 days. In 98 days, and let's level set. Friends, let's level set. We have a fight in front of us. We have a fight in front of us, and we are the underdogs in this race. We are. But you see, this is a people-powered campaign. Ours is a people-powered campaign. In fact, after I announced my candidacy, we saw the best week of grassroots fundraising in presidential campaign history. And if you go to KamalaHarris.com, you can help us build on that success. So the momentum in this race is shifting. And there are signs that Donald Trump is feeling it. You may have noticed. So last week, you may have seen, he pulled out of the debate in September he had previously agreed to. So here's the thing. Here's the funny thing about that. So he won't debate, but he and his running mate sure seem to have a lot to say about me. And by the way, don't you find some of their stuff to just be plain weird? Well, Donald, you'll reconsider to meet me on the debate stage. Because as the saying goes, if you've got something to say, say it to my face. In the next 98 days, we have our work cut out for us. And this is not going to be easy. This is hard work, but we like hard work. Hard work is good work. So, Georgia, today I ask you, are you ready to get to work? Do we believe in freedom? Do we believe in opportunity? Do we believe in the promise of America? And are we ready to fight for it? Michigan! You know what I see as I look at this crowd? Oh, okay. All right, you know what I see as I look at this crowd? Happy warriors for Harris and Walz, right? Now guess what? I woke up in Big Gretch mode this morning. Because I am fired up to elect Kamala Harris our president. And I am excited about our next vice president, Tim Walz. Now, I don't know if you all saw, but in Atlanta, they really showed up for the vice president last week. So you know what we got to do, right? We got to be better. We got to be louder. We got to show them how we do things in Motown, right? So, Michigan, are we fired up? Are we ready to win this thing? Now, I want to spend a moment to talk about what we're fighting for, and I want to remind us all what we are up against. In this election, we have two very different candidates. One is a prosecutor, the other is a convicted felon. One is an attorney general who served the public by taking on big banks, and the other is a fraudster who only serves himself. One, a vice president who believes in reproductive freedom, or the guy who stacked the court with the people who ripped away Roe. We're not going back, right? Say it with me, we're not going back. Kamala Harris wants to move us forward and the other guy wants to take us back, but guess what? We're not going back. Kamala Harris solves problems and the other guy is a problem. We're not going back. Kamala Harris fights for our freedoms and the other guy wants to take them away, but we're not going back. You all are doing a great job. I love you. Kamala Harris's vision for our future is all about freedom. Can you all say, hell yeah? The freedom, not just to survive, but the freedom to get ahead. Hell yeah. The freedom to breathe clean air and drink clean water. Hell yeah. The freedom to be who you are and love who you love. Hell yeah. The freedom to be safe from gun violence in your school, in your house of worship, or in your community. Hell yeah. And the freedom to make your own damn decisions about your own damn body. Hell yeah. So, this is why Kamala Harris got the endorsement of the United Auto Workers. Can I hear from you? Because we know that Kamala Harris is going to fight for the middle class. As president, she's going to focus on getting things done that make a real difference in our lives right now. She understands what the average person is going through because, guess what? She lived a normal life. She was raised by a single mom who had a full-time job. She moved in with her sister to help her raise her children. She took care of her mom when she was battling cancer. And she is a proud stepmom with a beautiful blended family who call her Kamala. And I know a lot of us identify with some of those characteristics. All right, Kamala. All right, I like it. And so I want to say a few words about my good friend Tim Walz, too. Now, yes, he's a fellow Great Lakes governor, a good Midwesterner,
But Tim and I get along because we both lead according to a three-part strategy. Get shit done. Tim's the real deal. He's the only governor I know who curses more than I do. And I have a feeling that's about to change. He's a former public school teacher, a soldier. He's a former soldier and a state championship winning football coach. I mean, maybe he should help out the Vikings after we smoked them twice last year. I'm just saying. Okay. You can't take away our Lions' pride, right? All right. But here's the thing. He's been an incredibly successful governor. Like Vice President Harris, Tim worked across the aisle to build consensus. He passed the largest infrastructure bill in Minnesota. He cut taxes for working families, delivered school meals for every child, protected public safety, grew Minnesota's economy, and so much more. Now, if a lot of that sounds familiar, it's because Tim and I have been trying to outdo one another on all these fronts for the last couple of years. Here in Michigan, with partners like Detroit's own Joe Tate, the Speaker of the House, first black Speaker of the House, we rolled back the retirement tax. We invested in our students and teachers. We passed common sense gun safety laws. We protected abortion rights, LGBTQ rights, and workers' rights. And we need partners in the White House who have our backs. And that's Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz will fight to help you not just get by, but to get ahead. Because every American deserves a path to prosperity, every one of us. They will fight to lower the cost of prescription drugs, make child care, pre-K, and elder care more accessible and affordable. And they will go after corporations that slap on junk fees and surprise late charges. The truth is, we cannot afford another 4 years of Donald Trump. Let's just look at his record. He did zilch on infrastructure, fail. He tried slashing Medicare and Social Security and repealing Obamacare. Thankfully, he's a failure there, too. He destroyed tens of thousands of manufacturing jobs. He cut taxes for himself and his wealthy friends. And he instigated the January 6th riot. And of course, he bragged about Roe v. Wade falling. So, a second term of Donald Trump would be an unmitigated disaster. We cannot trust Donald Trump, and we must make sure he does not get back into the White House. I mean, think about it. You wouldn't buy a used car from this guy. How can you expect him to support the auto industry? I think we need some medical attention over here. I can see someone coming. Let's give the individual a little space, please. Okay? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for looking out for one another, everyone. That's what Michiganders do. So you can't trust Donald Trump. What I was saying is you wouldn't buy a used car from this guy, much less trust him with the auto industry, right? You wouldn't let him pick up the tab at dinner or trust him to pick up the tab at dinner. How can we trust him with the world's biggest economy? You can't even let him count his own strokes on the golf course. How can we trust him to protect the rule of law? So there is a lot at stake in this election, my friends. We can send Donald Trump packing again, and Michigan is going to do it. We need you. We need you to knock doors, because if you knock doors, we win. We need you to make calls, because if you make calls, we win. We need you to donate $1 or $2. We can win. In fact, do everything short of biting the kneecaps. For the national press, that's a Detroit Lions thing. Anyway, when we, Michigan, elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, we can wake up on November 6th, the day after the election, and say for the first time, Madam President. We need a strong woman in the White House, and it's about damn time. And a good man by her side in Vice President Tim Walz. Let's get it done, Michigan. I love you.
Wow. What a crowd.
What a crowd!
Thank you. Hello, Phoenix. It is so great to be home here in Arizona. And Gabby and I are so excited to be with all of you today. And to welcome our next president and vice president, to our great home of the state of Arizona. So, Gabby and I played rock, paper, scissors to see who could speak first today. And guess who won? You're right. My wife, the woman who inspires me each and every day and teaches me to never give up. Gabby Giffords.
Our lives can change so quickly. Mine did when I was shot. But I never gave up hope. I chose to make a new start, to move ahead, to not look back. I'm relearning so many things, how to walk, how to talk, and I'm fighting to make the country safer. It can be so difficult. Loss is hurt. Setback are hard, but I tell myself, move ahead. I'm finding joy in small things, riding my bike, playing the French horn, going to the gym, laughing with friends. The small things add up. We are living challenging times. We're up for the challenge. My own recovery has taken years. Many, many, many people helped me along the way, and I learned so much. I learned that people care for each other and work together. Progress is possible. A world is possible. But change doesn't happen overnight, and we can't do it alone. Join me. Let's move ahead together. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Gabby Giffords, everybody. Arizona Democrats. Now, we've done a whole lot of winning over these past few years, haven't we? And I don't know about you, but I think we're ready to keep winning. We are going to keep winning with Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz. And we've got to, because there is so much at stake. Whether our kids grow up with the same rights and freedoms as the generations before them, whether our economy works for everyday people or is rigged for billionaires, and whether our alliances are strengthened or shredded. And that's why we have to elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Kamala Harris has served as a prosecutor, an attorney general, a senator, and now as the Vice President of the United States of America. She is the leader we need to take our country into the future. To lower the cost of child care. To restore reproductive rights. And to help us reduce gun violence. And Tim Walz has served as a coach, as a teacher, as the governor of the state of Minnesota, and in the U.S. House. And I don't know if you know this, but Gabby and Tim Walz were sworn in together as brand new members of Congress. Right? Yes. Right. He served honorably in uniform for decades. And Tim has brought that experience to everything he has done since. Fighting for our service members, fighting for veterans, and fighting for military families. Now, that's not something I expect that Donald Trump would understand. Donald Trump calls those who served suckers and losers. And he has zero respect for any of us who have worn the uniform. Folks, here in Arizona, we don't attack people for their service to our country. What do? We thank them. Right? So, how do we help Vice President Harris and Governor Walz win this election? So, folks, this is not rocket science. And I know a little bit about rocket science. That ain't this. What this is about is who works harder. That's it. It is as simple as that. And here's the thing. I've flown in space 4 times. And I've flown in combat nearly 40 times. But folks, not once did I do any of that by myself. It takes a team of people working together to accomplish a mission. It's always been that way. Now, I may be a Navy guy. I might be a Navy guy, but to win this election, we do not need a Navy. What we need is an Army. Now, here's the good news. Our future Vice President, he's an Army guy. So we need all of you to become part of an Army. Yes. An unstoppable Army that can get this team through and across the finish line. And Gabby and I, we are ready to join this Army. Are all of you? All right, so let's get this done, Arizona. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
One more time.
Thank you.
Thank you. A big thank you to Adam. I think we can all agree our future's pretty bright. Thank you, Adam. And hello, Michigan. You know, we Minnesotans, you've probably known this. We're a stoic people of few words. But holy hell, can you throw a party here in Michigan? So, wow. I want to take a moment to acknowledge a few friends, folks that I've gotten to know, and let's be very clear. This is someone who I consider my dearest friend, and someone who taught all the other governors how to fix the damn roads, Governor Whitmer. You have got a treasure in Michigan. And I'll tell you what, we share a lot between us in the upper Midwest. We share. Oh, we need some water. We have somebody down. We need some water. Medic. We need a medic right here. You got somebody here? You got him? All right, we got a medic on the way. Thank you for caring for your neighbors. Thank you for showing what Michigan does. Look, we share a lot of things. That's one of them. We're neighbors and we're not weird, that's for sure. But I got to tell you, something else we share is a care for the incredible natural resources. We in the upper Midwest, in our states, we care for 20% of the world's fresh water in those Great Lakes. And the Great Lakes have no better friend than your Senator Stabenow. I got some members of Congress I had the privilege of serving with and some that are new to that place. Let's be clear. We got to put gavels in the hands of these Democratic representatives so that we can get some work done. My friend Dan Kildee, Debbie Dingell, Haley Stevens, Alyssa Slotkin, Hillary Scholten, Representative Thander, I believe just won a primary here, Wayne County Executive Warren Evans, and the chair of the Michigan Democratic Party, Lavora Barnes. Thank you. And I want to just take a moment. It's been a pretty interesting 24 hours for me, I'll have to be honest. And I don't know how I could explain to you walking into that arena in Philly or that field out in Wisconsin or right here to what I have been told is the largest rally of the campaign. And look, this is a place full of working folks, students, folks who care. And I think about this. You came out here early, found a place to park, stood in the sun, sat here and wait, and you did it. You did it for one simple and eloquent and beautiful reason. You love this country. You love this country. I couldn't be prouder to be on this ticket and to help make Kamala Harris the next president of the United States. Every day of her life, Vice President Harris fights for the American people. She's taken on predators, fraudsters, and transnational gangs. You heard it. She stood up to powerful corporate interests, and she has never hesitated to reach across the aisle, try and find some common solutions. And she has done it, and this is what we know. All the things that make me mad about those other guys and all the things they do wrong, the one thing that I will not forgive them for is they try to steal the joy from this country. They try and steal the joy. But you know what? You know what? Our next president brings the joy. She emanates the joy. I know a little something about that commitment to people. I was born in a small town of 400 people in Nebraska, and community was the way of life. My mom and dad taught me you show generosity to your neighbors, and you work for a common good amongst them. At 17, I joined the Army National Guard. And for the next 24 years, it was a privilege to wear the uniform of this country. And just as it did for my dad, a Korean War-era veteran, and millions of others, I used the GI Bill to get a college education. Followed a bit in my dad's footsteps. He was a teacher. My brothers and sisters were teachers. And they married teachers. I had the privilege of teaching high school social studies. And I coached the football team. We did win a state championship. I tell you that because don't ever close the yearbook is my pro tip to you. My students are the ones who encouraged me to run for office. I never thought much about it. But they saw in me what I hope to instill in them, a commitment to the common good, a true belief that one person truly can make a difference in their world. I lived in a district where I didn't know this at the time, only one other Democrat since 1892 had won that district. And on that election night, my neighbors graced me with the opportunity to go to the United States Congress and represent them. I learned how to compromise without compromising my values. I learned how to work across the aisle to get good things done for people. And now as governor of Minnesota, I bring those experiences together so we can tackle some of those hard problems, inequities, climate change, all of the things that we care about. Now, we got a lot of shared values in this room. By the way, is labor in the room? This might be my chance to use it. Yeah. Yeah. We know who built the middle class, but here's the deal. What we know is Donald Trump, he sees the world a bit differently than we see the world. And I've been saying it. He doesn't know the first thing about service because he's way too busy serving himself. This is a big difference. Again and again, he does things that weakens our country, only to strengthen his own hand. He mocks our laws. He sows chaos and division amongst the public. And that's to say nothing about his record as president. Let's be, he is that. He is that. Look, we had the worst crisis of a generation, and he froze during COVID. People lost their lives because of that. He drove the economy into the ground, and make no mistake, violent crime was up during Donald Trump's presidency. And that's not even counting the crimes he committed. So, some of the gray hairs in here remember a Republican Party that used to actually talk about freedom. These guys, when they talk about freedom, it means government has the freedom to invade your exam room with your doctor. Now, I know, look, we got a lot of commonalities. And I'll say this, as an NFC North guys, Vikings fans are proud of the Lions. I will say that. I will say that. But in Minnesota, we respect our neighbors' personal choices. We may not agree with them or make them from ourselves, but I've been saying this. You all know it. Our golden rule is mind your own damn business. Just mind your own business. It's amazing what minding your own damn business does to make things work better. Don't like a book, don't read it. Is there anybody in America sitting around in a bar, a bunch of people talking and say, you know what we need in this country? We need to ban Animal Farm. That's the first thing we'd even do. Nobody says that. But you know what? It would be fun if it wasn't so dangerous, because then they start thinking about things like IVF and banning IVF. And I have to tell you, this is very personal for my family. When my wife and I decided to have children, we went through years of fertility treatments. Remember, every time the phone rang, I'd catch my breath, I'd feel nervousness, and then it would be a crushing feeling when they told us that the treatments didn't work. The agony of that I can feel to this day. But I can also feel some joy in this, because it wasn't by chance, as I say this, when our daughter, and we finally conceived, and our daughter was born, we didn't hesitate at all. We named her Hope. We named her Hope. But I do have to tell you something about hope. My wife always tells me this. It's not a damn plan. We can't hope we beat this guy. We can't hope that things get better. We go out and work our butts off to make sure it happens. So when our next president walks out here and she talks about freedom, she means the freedom to make your own health care decisions. And when she comes out here and talks about that our children should be free to go to school without being shot dead in their classrooms. Look, we believe strongly in Minnesota in the Second Amendment, just like you do. But we also believe strongly in common sense gun violence prevention laws. Freedom's when education's a ticket to the middle class, not crushing student loan debt. And it's a place where we know freedom means we settle our political differences not through violence, but with our votes. You get it. You drove out here. You stood here. Yeah. Please. Look, and let's all decide right now on this, whatever. We know it's going to be a hard race. We know it's going to be close. But let's don't be so close that these guys have anything to say. Let's don't be so close that there's anything. Let's just win the damn thing by a broader margin. Simple proposition. This election's about which direction this country's going to go in. We know Donald Trump's taking us backwards. And don't believe the act. He's playing dumb. He knows exactly what Project 2025 is going to do to our personal liberties. Destroy unions, rig the economy for the ultra-wealthy. We know that when he goes back, he's picking up and doing the same things he did when he was there the last time. Except, you all know this, it will be much, much worse when he comes back. Raising costs for all of you, repealing the Affordable Care Act. He doesn't care. Gutting Social Security, and be very clear. They can say whatever they want. They are banning abortion across this country, no questions asked. No questions asked. Yeah, you think this guy cares about you or your family? His running mate has the same dangerous and backward agenda as Trump. Well, heck, you all know it. Every regular person in the heartland went to Yale, had Silicon Valley billionaires fund his career, and then he writes a book trashing the very community that raised him. That whole thing is, I wasn't calling anybody names. I was just making an observation about them. We can see it. And here's my thing. There's a lot of things going to happen, by the way. We got about 91 days, and I keep telling people this, 91 days. My God, you can do anything for 91 days. 90. Christ, I haven't slept in 24 hours. You know why? We'll sleep when we're dead. We'll sleep when we're dead. Get it going. Here's my brass ring I'm looking for. I can't wait to debate this guy. I cannot wait to talk about what they think. I can't wait to ask him why he wants to take health care and take reproductive rights, and why he wants to make sure that the wealthiest pay no taxes as we destroy unions in the middle class. So here's the deal. You said it. These ideas that they're putting out there, they are weird as hell. No one's asking for it. No one's asking for it. We're asking a fair shot. We're asking for health care and child care. We're asking for an education. We're asking for safety in our streets. That's what we're asking for. And we're going to get it because that's what this campaign's about. It's about moving forward. Look, you know that Kamala Harris believes that you should be making the own choices in your life. She believes that every person should have an opportunity to enter the middle class. She believes in something so beautiful and simple with joy. She believes in the promise of this great nation. Look, she can take care of herself out front, and she said it. If they want to talk smack, she said it. Say it to my face, damn it. Say it to my face. But what I got to say is, we got to have her back. We got to have her back. So, Madam Vice President, thank you for the trust you've placed in me. Michigan, help me right now give a warm Midwest welcome
to the next President of the United States, Kamala Harris.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Can we hear it up for Tim Walz? Isn't he amazing? He's going to be the most incredible vice president. All right, so it is good to be back and to be with so many incredible leaders. I love you. Governor Gretchen Whitmer, thank you for your friendship, your sisterhood, and your leadership, and we are going to do this together. Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist, thank you so much. His parents are over there, and the members of Congress, including Senator Debbie Stabenow, my dear friend, and your next United States Senator, Representative Elisa Slotkin. We're going to get that done. Mayor Mike Duggan, thank you for the warm welcome always. And of course, it is so good to be with the President of the United Auto Workers, my dear friend Shawn Fain. And last week, it was my honor, it feels like last year. Last week, it was my great honor to accept the endorsement of the United Auto Workers. And the UAW has always worked to lift up the working people of our nation. Do we need some help over there? We need a medic over there, please. There should be medics in each corner. We're good? Okay. All right. Look, let's all take care of each other and look out for each other, all right? That's who we are. We look out for each other. Okay. So, as I said to Shawn, as I talked to Shawn about this election is going to be a fight. We like a good fight. When you know what you stand for, you know what to fight for. We know what we stand for. So I'm so proud to have UAW by my side because y'all know how to fight and you know how to win. Today, I also bring greetings from our incredible President Joe Biden. That's right. Joe. That's right. And I know we are all deeply, deeply grateful to Joe for his lifetime of service to our nation. And we thank you, Joe Biden, each and every day for all you are and all you still have yet to do. Thank you, Joe. 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 That's right. I'm going to tell him what you said. So, Michigan, this has been a big week. On Monday, I officially became the Democratic nominee for President of the United States. Yesterday, I announced my running mate in this campaign, Governor Tim Walz. And as you just heard, he has an incredible record as governor of the great state of Minnesota. And to those who know him best, some people are just getting to know him, but I'm going to tell you, you got to know him real quick because he's incredible. He's a serious, serious man. He has been a serious leader, and he loves our country. And, you know, I've talked to some of the people who know him best, like his wife, Gwen. And to Gwen, Tim Walz's husband. To his kids, Hope and Gus, he is Dad. To his fellow veterans, he is Sergeant Major Walz. To the people of southern Minnesota for 12 years, he was a congressman. To his former high school students, he is Mr. Walz. And to his former high school football players, he was Coach. And in 90 days, the nation will know Coach Walz by the title Vice President of the United States. That's right. So it is so good to be back in Michigan. And listen, I am clear. The path to the White House runs right through this state. And with your help, we will win in November. We will win. And I know we are all clear about what we are up against. As many of you know, before I was elected vice president, before I was elected as a United States Senator, I was elected Attorney General, and before that, elected District Attorney, and before that, I was a courtroom prosecutor. In those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, scammers who broke the rules for personal gain. So hear me, Detroit, when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. I've been dealing with them my whole career. For example, as Attorney General of California, I took on one of the country's largest for-profit colleges that scammed students. Well, Donald Trump ran a for-profit college that scammed students. You remember that? As a prosecutor, I specialize in cases of sexual abuse. Well, Donald Trump was found liable for committing sexual abuse. As Attorney General, I held the big Wall Street banks accountable for fraud. Well, Donald Trump was just found guilty of fraud. 34 counts, to be exact. Hold on. You know what? Here, hold on. Here's the thing. The courts are going to handle that. We're going to beat them in November. Okay? We'll beat them in November. We'll handle that. But all that to say, in this campaign, I proudly put my record against his any day of the week. Any day of the week. But make no mistake, our campaign, this campaign, is not just about us versus Donald Trump. It's bigger than that. It is about two very different visions for the future of our nation. One, ours, focused on the future, and the other, focused on the past. And Michigan, we here fight for the future. We fight for the future. We fight for a future where every worker has the freedom to join a union. Where every senior can retire with dignity. A future with affordable housing, affordable child care, affordable health care, and paid leave. A future where we build a broad-based economy where every American has an opportunity to own a home, to start a business, and to build wealth. And understand, in this fight, we are joyful warriors. Because while fighting for a brighter future may take hard work, we all here know hard work is good work. Hard work is good work. We believe in a future where we lower the cost of living for America's families, so they have a chance, not just to get by, but to get ahead. Because look, while our economy is doing well by many measures, prices for everyday things like groceries are still too high. You know it and I know it. When I was Attorney General, I went after price-fixing schemes.